and welcome to another video. Today I'm gonna be tackling the 1980s makeover style. Last night I put my fringe in a roller preemptively and this is what it's turned out like, so that's great. Right, well, the first thing that I would like to do, which isn't necessary, but I feel like I should transform into an 80s outfit. So let's get started. Obviously, these jeans are a bit too tight for 1980s, but they are stonewashed. I've never done that before. Changed outfit straight away, but just felt right. The types of 1980s makeovers, well, if you're thinking just like a normal regular human, they probably wouldn't be quite as elaborate because these photographs are like editorials. So this is like us looking at a Maybelline advert and thinking like, why do they look like that? And then, you know, there's this which is quite subtle, and then there's this that is not subtle. Oh, look how beautiful. Come on. It's great. And then there's like the cash, which is what I'm going for currently right now. I'm just being real cash. Is there anything? Oh, look at Kylie Minogue. Beautiful. Oh yes, of course. I'm, you know, gonna look at Madonna, of course. Amazing. So they're my sort of reference pictures. It's very warm in denim. I'm gonna have to take this off. Even though my hair is like probably a normal person, a ratty normal person in the 1980s, I need to put my hair up because I'm too warm in denim. It's an updo. I've got my 1980s sign in the background. I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's there as moral support for me. Anyway, let's get on with putting stuff on my face. As always, I'm going to start with some concealer. Why the 1980s? I'm going to tell you why. We've done the 50s, we've done the 60s, we've done the 70s. Well, the next viable option would be the 80s, am I right? I'm running out of these. I really didn't think that I would run out of any sort of makeup product during this weird time. Now I'm gonna do the powdery thing. Ooh. That's one thing that can be said about the makeup looks in the 80s. They do look very powdery and very soft. And by that I mean there's no harsh lines. I don't mean that the colours are soft, because the colours can be quite crazy. I'm going to use this, oh, you can see up my nose. I'm going to use this palette. I'm going to use the contouring part. They didn't really do contouring in the 80s, but
I'm doing it for me.
The one defining feature, I think, of the 80s is the blush.
They bloody loved blush back then.
So I'm going to be using this colour, which is the raspberry colour that I usually use, and I always go, I put too much on. But I'm going to use this one because I think that this is an accurate representation of the 80s. So if we go back to a reference picture, like this one, you can see that really rather quite a bold blush. These are more editorial, but you know, told Whitney, she's got a hell of a lot of blush going on as well, so let's do that. Do I look slightly bruised? And what's really beautiful about it is that they bring it up onto the forehead.
My fringe is getting in the way.
How's that looking, friends? It does actually look like she's got a little bit of highlight on her cheek, doesn't it? So I'm going to do it. Just here. There we go. So 80s. Now, the other colours on her face are purple and blue. And I see a lot of purples on people. Purples and blues. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do purplesies and bluesies on my facey. I'm a little Miss Drop It All today. I keep dropping things everywhere. It's very frustrating. Right. So I'm going to go in with white all over my eye, and then I'm going to go in with like a purpley and then maybe a pinky to sort of like blend it all together. It's probably going to go all the way up here because that's also something that they like to do. Let's just get on with it and see how it turns out, shall we? This goes against every fibre in my being to put my makeup all the way up here. Right, so now I've got like a lovely pink colour everywhere that I think that sort of matches my blush, because that is a big thing, matchy matchy blushy blush blush. I'm going to go in with the purple under my eye, under my eye, and I'm going to draw it up. I think this is fine.
Disclaimer once more that this is like my approximation of the 80s. This is not what they were doing in the 80s. So, just that disclaimer, please. Please hear it and know it.
Another big thing in the 80s were big bushy eyebrows. Like I said, in the 70s were a thin line that went across, and in the 80s everyone said, give me a big bushy brow, please. So that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm using a pencil, as they would, and I'm just going to go for it. The trick with using a pencil is to do short, sharp strokes to emulate a hair. I am, of course, going to set my eyebrows with a clear mascara, just so that the hairs don't move. Don't despair if you feel like your blush has muted. That is one of the things that blush does do after time. It does sort of calm down a little bit. So you can always just reapply.
Fabulous.
Okay, I've got two different lipstick colours. I've got a muted pink and a more fluorescent. It's called fuchsia. So I've got a duller pink and a fuchsia pink. I think that this is a more normal pink. So I'll put this on first. I am now going to put mascara on. They do wear eyeliner in the 80s, but I don't see any eyeliner on the original picture that I was looking at, so I'm not going to put any eyeliner on. That's decided. The eyelash perm is still present. It's not as permy. There are parts of the eyelashes that aren't as as they were. This is it then, I guess. I'm going to do my hair now. I have decided...
My years of experience have told me.
I'm just not going to bother doing the bottom part of my hair. Because I'm lazy, obviously. So I'm just going to do the top parts of my hair to try and give me a little bit more
Volume.
Because volume was very necessary in the 80s. So I am going to use, it's called a root booster, but it's basically just like a mini crimper. I am not going to crimp all of my hair with these. I am so sorry if that disappoints you. I'm sure that it does disappoint quite a lot of people. I just don't want to. When I think of... Is that on? Yes. When I think of the 80s, I don't automatically think of crimped hair. What I personally automatically think of is perms. So I'm going to try and give myself an approximation of a perm.
This lovely fringe.
That's what I'm going to do. Ooh, it's making a smell. Do you see what it's doing? People that were crimping their hair, they were quite big crimps, whereas this is a little tiny baby one. So it wouldn't be accurate, and also it'd look absolutely crazy. So with these you've got to really try and get as close to the root as possible without burning your skin. Okay, I'm leaving it at that. They didn't really have, this sounds weird, but I hope you know what I mean. Quite a lot of the time they didn't have partings in the 80s, they just sort of like swooped the hair over, which is what I'm going to do. Imagine if I had a bright blonde fringe. Oh. I'll get back to you at the end. Okay, so I've done the parts of the hair that I decided that I was going to do, and all of the other bits have been left. So what we've done is we have crimped some of the areas to help me create more body, and then I've curled some of the other areas to try and make it look more like a perm. I haven't curled all of my hair because my hair's already textured anyway underneath here, so I thought only the top bits really mattered for the purpose of this video. So let's start pulling these out a little bit. They are a little bit more sort of ringlety than the loose perms were, but that's okay. I just wanted some more curly texture, to be honest. So there we go. There we go. And now I'm just gonna do this, and where the crimped areas are, that's really just gonna fluff those up. It's a little bit like back combing using that texturizing thing. Okay, and here I am. Maybe I'll put that down there. This is surprisingly what I was going for, actually. I'm quite surprised that that's worked. The reason why, it's that sort of a thing that I'm going for.
80s, 80s.
I guess I better put my proper outfit on. Obviously I'm wearing this currently.
I'm ready for the party.
Okay, I'm going to put some of this cerise colour on my lips because I'm going to a party, an 80s party in my mind. They didn't really do matte formulas back then, so I'm going to put this shiny one over the top.
Let's put some jewellery on because we're going to a party, an 80s party.
In my mind. There is no place for less is more in the 80s. Trade secret, this is actually another dress underneath here. I've just put a skirt over the top of this, and then all the way underneath here I've got a pair of sports shorts. Ugh. Woo! That was fun. Ooh. Oh, I think that was a handstand. I'm going to give it one more try. No. Okay. put this jewellery back on, shall we? Thanks for liking, commenting and subscribing. Let me know what you thought of this video, and I will see you next time. Bye! Excuse me, I just found my scrunchie and this is just incredible. This is the 1980s. I don't care what anyone has to say. This is the 1980s. I'm dropping everything today. That's so much fun. And I've dropped that thing for the 7th time. Shh, shh. Shh, 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 shh. Oh dear, that's hottity hot hot. Excuse me, can you go over there? Ooh, don't burn anything, please, you crazy thing. Does that go over twice? No. Oh, shush!